Thank you, Dave, for getting us all set up. Thank you to the Salina Country Club for the meal and media for coming out here and listening to us go on. I'm going to introduce my staff that came with me today. First of all, Wendell Smith. He's our assistant head football coach. He's in charge of everything. So that's a new title for him, and it's great, so I don't have to do anything. That's even work for our football team. We added a new defensive coordinator this year, Josh Molka. Josh was the defensive coordinator at Dakota State in South Dakota. We decided to get a little bit more people from the Northland to come back down here, and because they're used to the cold, and we thought that would fit in well with our campus weather in the winters. Does everybody have one of these? Good, because I was going to read it from front to back. And I just want you to know we're starting on page 1. And there's only 20 pages. No, we will not do that, that's for sure. I'm assuming that everybody that's going to ask a question can read, and so you can take a look at that. Our season preview is on page 5 if you wanted to look at that. Basically, just to kind of wrap some of this stuff up for you. Offensively, depending on how you look at it, we return either 8 or 9 starters. We had a kind of a running back duo for us last year that we kind of split time at that position with Robbie Dubois and Andy Otto, and they are both back for us this next year. We returned 4 out of our 5 offensive line. We returned our tight end, who was an all-conference player for us this last year, and Taylor Burnett. And we do lose 2 of our receivers, but we returned 2 starters, and we did play quite a few. We've also added to that position through junior college transfers and 4-year college transfers. We feel pretty good about our recruiting class when it comes to especially our offensive side of the football. Defensively, we returned 6 starters. This is the place that we had the greatest impact. 2 reasons: one, through graduation, and one, we had a loss of a defensive lineman mid-year last year who passed away after getting jumped outside a club in Michigan and went into a coma. I was talking to the coaches here, and the interesting thing that I looked at is with those 2 defensive linemen, the loss of those 2 guys, we lose 18 of our sacks from last year. So we will have to fill that void, but I think we've done so with recruiting. When it comes to our linebackers, we are going to be very deep, with our linebackers. We should be able to go 2 deep out of our 34 with some very, very quality guys. And that's a good thing for us with the 34. We return our kicker, we return our punter, we return our snapper, and our holder. So we shouldn't have to teach anybody new on that side of the ball. And in the previous years, it's always been adventures in special teams and not so much special teams. Adventures in kicking was always fun for us as coaches, and that's why my hair is getting grayer like my father's was. Letterman, to answer your question, again with Andy, if you played, you lettered, and so we're assuming that there's around 50 of those guys. It's taken us about 4 years to get things rolling the way we like to at OU. It's been quite a transition. It was more of a rebuilding than a reloading that we as a staff first thought we were going to get. There's been changes in our university, good, and for a while, then bad, then back to good. We have a president that is a former football player that is in charge of the whole shebang now for us, and we're extremely excited about that. We had a great year recruiting. I think we were up to about 55-ish guys and counting. We should have between 115 and 120 guys out for football this year, which is a far cry from the 36 that we inherited. Facilities are very good. We still are trying to do something with that stadium. It needs some work, but the field is fantastic for those guys that played on it last year. We try to treat you right and put you in nice locker rooms and all that stuff too. Basically, in a nutshell, we're pretty excited about where we're going to be able to be this year. We just like to see it play out. Our theme for this year is one. When you go through the loss of a player, you decide that one day at a time is the way to go. And everybody on our team's kind of taken that as a pretty good model for what they're doing. So we're going to take one day at a time. We're going to take one practice at a time. We're going to take one play at a time. When we get into a game, we're going to take one game at a time. And hopefully we can put it together and have a really good season. Any questions? I've never, ever been asked a question. So we'll continue that. All right, thank you very much.